we've got Jesse Dobeck and Peter Deli and Jacob Bowe. And so, folks, we know you just typed in the chat, you're excited to learn the 12 fundamental laws. What you're seeing right now is Jesse's screen. Obviously, you could learn Jesse's entire story also at thetrafficsyndicate.com. His thumbnail is up there. I believe it's the third one. And you could learn all about Jesse's backstory. I recommend you do that. He's going to tell you today why he's an expert and why you should be listening to him. And of course, Jacob and Peter, you've already learned they're gangsters in this industry. So we're going to jump right into Jesse's slides. Jesse, the show is yours.
Thanks so much, Mike. And I'm so humbled and honored to be here. Honestly, Mike was one of my idols when I first started. I don't know if you guys watched my case study video. If not, let me just tell you a little bit about my story. Okay, I started humbly, $120,000 in debt, living with my dad after my basketball career ended. I didn't become the next Michael Jordan. So I needed to figure something out. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, started doing network marketing, failed miserably, got discouraged, went online and discovered online marketing, discovered people like Russell Brunson, Mike Filsaime, Mike Dillard, Evan Pagan. I said, look, I got to get in on this. I got to learn this. And I made a career out of online marketing. I started learning. The first thing I started to do was build websites. And then I realized from my clients that they needed traffic to their websites to have success. So I started learning from Traffic and Conversion Summit how to do SEO, how to do Facebook marketing. And then I cracked the code on Facebook, building fan pages. And I landed Brendan Burchard as a client. He called us up. He's like, how are y'all guys getting so much traffic to my buddy's Facebook page and his website and for so cheap? This is crazy. I don't know. How are you guys doing this? So we showed him within 24 hours. He sent me and my business partner 25K just for a test budget and then started sending us hundreds of thousands of dollars because he wanted to get to 1 million followers. We did that in 3 months. He also went on Joe Polish's stage saying he did $25 million on Facebook ads this year. And a lot of what he was doing was with us. So we started working with Brendan. Then I spoke at his event and he said they get better results on Facebook ads than anyone I know. They've helped me buy and manage Facebook pages, get awesome click and like prices and optimize long running ads in ways no one else can. I love these guys. You'll learn a ton from them. And Brendan also, when he introed me, if you watch the video that's there, you can't play it right now, but if you did play it, he said, I wanted to have their baby. They got such good results. And also, I thought the feds were going to bust through my window because you're running Facebook ads and you're making money with them. So we helped Brendan do some amazing things with Facebook pages and going super viral. We got his post reach up to 200 million a week for an extended period of time. It averaged like 25 million a week. And we were retargeting with ads. We were getting people through his funnels, buying his books, getting them to buy courses, getting them to the events, getting them into the high ticket offers. Super exciting. So we saw Brendan transform, get on the Larry King show. He started working with Oprah. I remember when Oprah called him up and said, hey kid, what are you doing? Because you're helping some of my friends and can you help me? So that was really, really exciting. And then he was on the cover of Success Magazine. Well, that's all well and good, but we're here for you guys right now. So if you're excited, put a yes in the chat. We're going to show you how to transform your business using Meta, using Facebook ads, and the 12 fundamental laws of a no-fail ad campaign. So if you're excited, put a yes in the chat and let's dive in. Now, law number 9 is absolutely going to shock you. Your hair is going to be sticking to your ceiling. I guarantee you that because this is something that you don't expect, but it's the realistic truth. It's what we're going to show you here is going to take you to the next level on steroids. Fundamental law number 1, clearly define your objectives. Choose your channels. Fundamental law number 2, know your target audience. Fundamental law number 3, embrace AI tools. Fundamental law number 4, write effective ad copy. Fundamental law number 5, create compelling ad creatives. Fundamental law number 6, set up pixels and tracking. Fundamental law number 7, optimize for mobile. Fundamental law number 8, set a realistic budget and publish your ad. Fundamental law number 9, we'll leave that a mystery for now. Fundamental law number 10, monitor and analyze metrics. Fundamental law number 11, use A/B testing. Fundamental law number 12, adapt and optimize. So these are the 12 fundamental laws. I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. Fundamental law number 1 for creating a no-fail ad campaign is clearly defining your objectives and choosing your channels. So first off, you want to understand, are you trying to get leads? And we like to generate leads for high ticket offers. Okay, if you're selling a low ticket offer, we like the objective to be for purchases. So you got to decide, do I want to go after getting sales on the platform. In this case, we're going to focus on Meta. Okay. I know there's choices out there. Where do I want to go? Choose your channel. YouTube, Google, Meta. So Facebook and Instagram, Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, or any other like programmatic or any other like, network where you can put your ads on like a dating site or some, website. So there's all different types of ads. So you got to choose your channel, what makes the most sense for you. Now, usually we always start with our clients working on Meta, because that has the most reach, the most people hanging out, gives us the most data, bang for the buck. So for this case, when you're starting out, we're going to choose your channel for you. You're going to pick Meta because everybody's there anyway. There's plenty of market there for you. And you have two choices in how we like to do it with our clients. Either leads, you're optimizing and your objective is going to be for leads, or sales. So you're going to pick leads. It's real simple. If you have a high ticket offer over $5,000, we're going to recommend that you have them you drive ads to an application to fill out a form so you can call them up and sell them something over the phone. So you're going to optimize for leads, and your objective is going to be leads. Now, if you're selling a book or a course or live event tickets or something that is like under $2,000, you're probably going to optimize for purchases. I mean, if you're selling tractors, maybe you can generate leads, for solar, it's leads for, different like loans or, there's different types of businesses. But if you're selling a low ticket item, like under $100 for sure, you're optimizing for purchases. And if it's high ticket and it's really expensive, you're going to optimize for leads. Now, where you're going to drive traffic is either probably to a website or some kind of funnel, landing page series, or some way that you're going to figure out what these people, what's happening once they interact with you, right? Meaning they're on Facebook. I mean, you can have them fill out a lead form on Facebook, or you can have them go to an app or Instagram, or even go to WhatsApp to do a chat and generate leads. I've seen real estate companies do that where, hey, are you looking for a place to live? Well, go to they send you to WhatsApp and now they're chatting with you there. But for most cases, like 90% of our clients, we drive them off of the platform into our network where we can track them throughout the whole process. We get the most data. So you're probably going to select website. So for this case, I'm going to select it for you. You're going to pick website. Hopefully you have a funnel. One thing that I want to say too, we're not going to talk about your funnel that much or your offer. We're hoping that you have an offer that you've already tested with traffic offline or referrals, or you have some clients. So your offer is good. You have to have so you don't have a good offer. Your offer is great. If you're going to go towards ads, you got to test, make sure that your offer is great. Okay. If you don't know if your offer is great and you want to test it with ads, okay, we're going to show you how to set a low cost budget so we can, get you some data so you can start working on your offer. Right? So figure out your offer, your funnel, and now we're going to show you how to get clicks. And running paid traffic and these fundamental laws of a no-fail ad campaign, running ads online for paid traffic is the holy grail of how to get traffic to your business. Okay. So you master this, you're to the next level. So step number 1, pick the objective, whether it's leads or purchases. And then number 2, you're going to drive traffic to a website. All right. So let me give you an example here. One of our clients, Chris Crone, we started off with an ad going to an opt-in page, to a video sales letter, and then to an application. So there's 4 steps in the process. Now, whenever they hit each step, you're going to have a drop off of like 20 to 50%, even if your process is good, because there's so many steps, people are going to get discouraged and leave. And that's what we saw. When we did this process, we were generating leads for over $2,000 per lead. And these are leads to sell a $10,000 to $35,000 offer. So we were just below break even. We weren't quite breaking even with step number 1. That was our first take on this, where we had all the steps. And then we got warmer in the process and we started running an ad that was more like selling the VSL. So we're sending them to a video sales letter. VSL means video sales letter. So, and that's just a video with a sales pitch that gets them really excited about filling out the application. So instead of sending them to the opt-in page, the video sales letter, and then the application, we created the ad a little bit different. So it was like selling the VSL with the ad. Now they're going to the video sales letter and then they're clicking to go to the application. We're a little warmer, right? But now we're hot because now we really figured it out. We started running the ad as the video sales letter. So an 11-minute ad instead of a 30-second or minute ad or 2-minute ad, we're sending them to an 11-minute and 30-second ad that was a mini version of the VSL that just sent them straight to the application. Man, our conversions went through the roof. 3 to 4x return on ad spend. And we started generating like hundreds of leads, and we were spending $100 per lead, $150 per lead on average now. We're like really fine tuning it and like getting it down, but we cut out those steps, like these steps right here. We cut out like the extra steps, the 2 extra steps, and send them from the ad straight to the application. So if you're doing leads and you're doing high ticket and you're optimizing for leads, you can make the video sales letter your ad. And we're going to show you how, like all the components to break down like all the tools that you need and how to create an ad with AI, like a really compelling VSL or ad like this with just using AI. And it's going to be like 60% of the ad or, the VSL you can create with AI, and 40% is going to be you doing stuff, right? So Jacob's going to show that. He's going to blow your mind with that. We're really excited about that. So this was our winning combination, and we're still drilling that down and optimizing that down. And we'll show you some other tools that we use to make it even more effective. All right. So we're going to bring out Jacob now and talk about his understanding of the meta ad auction, because he worked literally inside of Facebook for 3 years. He worked with the people that built the ad algorithm. He worked on some of their top clients. They like cherry picked him as like the top video producer and editor for ads, showed him how to run the platform. He became a master. So he's going to come out here and blow your mind in just a second. Jacob, are you there?
Yeah. What's up, Jesse?
All right. And I'm just going to control the slides because there's only 3 of them. So that way we can just kind of go through it. So is there anything you want to say before we dive in?
Yeah, I would say that one of the most important things that I learned while working at Facebook was how to understand the ad auction and the ad algorithm formula. Because once you understand how Facebook works internally with how they prioritize you in the ad auction, you can build out creative ads that are rigged to win the auction at the lowest price points possible. And that's what we want to train you guys on, so you can understand. Once you have this knowledge in your head, you can then go out and build creatives and write your copy in order to kind of game the system. And that's the game that we want to play. And that's what we want to show you how to do. Okay, so Jesse brings up this slide right here. And one of the most important things that I learned while working at Facebook, and this is back in 2015 to 2018, was that every single advertiser that wants to show their ad on the platform, they enter into an actual auction where they're bidding against their competitors for the right to show their ad to the user on the other side of the screen, right? So this is kind of, more common knowledge now. There's been some documentaries that came out about this, but back when I was working there, nobody really knew how it actually worked. And so I sat down with the engineers who built out the algorithm, and they would write out the formulas for me, basically like on the back of a napkin. We'd sit down at lunch and they would show me how the formulas actually work and teach me about how the auction actually worked, so that I could go and make better ad creatives for Facebook's partner brands. So I was on the creative workshop team, and I would work with all the Fortune 500 companies, creating the ads for companies like Uber or Pottery Barn or Cheetos or United Airlines, QuickBooks, right? I would have to figure out how to create ads that are going to crush it on the platform. And the way to do that was learning how the auction worked and learning how the ad algorithm actually worked. So Jesse, if you want to flip to the next slide, we're going to get into this, which is the total value formula. And so this was kind of the core of what I learned at Facebook. And what they were showing me was that it is unlike a traditional auction where you have an advertiser bid. Because think about it, in a traditional auction, your bid is that's what's going to allow you to win the auction. So if you're, bidding for whatever, a Lamborghini, let's say, and, you're going to raise your paddle, and whoever outbids you, that's who's going to win the auction. But with Meta, they level the playing field. So this is what allows companies like, Casper mattresses to beat out the legacy brands. This is what allows companies like Tom's Shoes to beat out Nike on the platform, because they're not just saying, okay, whoever spends the most money wins the right to show your ads. They're really looking at it with this formula right here. And what's important to know is that Facebook and Instagram, Meta, they prioritize a positive user experience for the users over you winning in advertising. And they do that strategically because they know that if you are a user on their platform and you're always getting ads that are not relevant to you, then you're going to leave the platform, and then they're not going to be able to monetize their advertising because nobody's going to be there. So their main priority is a positive user experience for their users. So this is why this formula was built out, because they want to make sure that you're not just spending the most money to show your ads. They want to make sure that you're providing value on the platform. And one of the best things that we learned was something called estimated action rates. Okay. So the formula is this right here, which is advertiser bid times estimated action rates plus user value equals your total value score. Now that total value score is your end score. That's your number that you're going into the ad auction with. And whoever has the highest total value score, whatever, business or advertiser has that highest total value score, they're going to win the right to show their ad to the guy on the other side of the screen, right? So how do we get that total value score up? So it's unlike the traditional auction where you just spend more. You've got to focus on these two other factors like estimated action rates and user value. So let me just highlight real quick what estimated action rates is. This is very important. It is Meta is looking at how well you performed in the past on your ad campaigns, and then they're going to make a predictive guess on how well you're likely to perform in future ad campaigns. Okay, so it's kind of a snowball effect, and you can get it wrong, and then it's detrimental to you. So basically, if you're running ads that are irrelevant, your targeting is off, your ad creatives do not drive conversions, then your estimated action rates are going to go way down. But if you play the game Facebook wants you to play and you're running ads that are getting high conversions, your targeting is spot on, people are interacting with your ads and they're liking them, then your estimated action rate is going to go way up because you're going to be getting more conversions. And that's the whole thing about estimated action rates. They base it off the conversions that you're getting. Okay. So you want to focus on maximizing your conversions, especially when you're first starting out. Because if you can maximize your conversions on your first ad campaign, well, then Facebook's going to reward you. Meta is going to reward you in the ad auction and say, well, you performed well in the past, so we are going to allow you to perform well predictively in the future. We're going to make a guess that you are contributing positively onto the platform. So we're going to lower the advertiser bid that you have to spend in order to win the ad auction. And then the second thing that we want to focus on is user value. So you want to always be providing positive user value on the platform. And you can do this with your creatives. You can do this with your offer. You could do this, with your copy. You just want to make sure that you're not like think of it this way. If you are selling, let's say, bald head cream, right? I don't know why I thought of that. But if you're selling bald head cream to people who have hair, well, they're not going to have a very good user experience, right? That's not going to be relevant to them. Or vice versa. If you're selling shampoo to people who are bald, then they're not really going to like that. And then your user value is going to go down because you didn't get that right. Right? And so nobody's going to take action on that ad. So one, your user value goes down, and two, nobody takes action. So what happens is those scores lower. So what happens is you're going to have to increase the spend to up your total value score in order for you to win the ad auction, right? So we want to reverse that. And that's where we come in and start focusing on estimated action rates and user value. So we raise those scores so we can lower the amount you have to spend. And that's how you win at Facebook advertising. That's how you win at Instagram advertising. So I don't know how deep in the weeds we want to get on that, but this is just an overview of how the total value formula works and how it works with the ad auction.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see how Jacob is a master at understanding the ad algorithm. So we're just going to keep moving forward. Fundamental law number 2 for a no-fail ad campaign is know your target audience. Now, number 1 thing to consider is what age are they? Now, I know you probably want to draw out your avatar so you know what they look like and how old are they? What's their gender? Are they predominantly male or female? What languages do they speak? What language do they speak? Location, education level, their financial status. Who do they follow? What influencers do they follow? What influences their decisions? What's their interests? Now we're going to dig really deep into target audience and like how to really target and like how it all works. But these are kind of the things that you should do the research on. Figure out like who your target audience is, draw them out, figure out, and any other things that I'm missing. I mean, these are some of the bigger ones. There's plenty of things, demographics that make your avatar, your audience unique. You need to really understand your audience before you start marketing. That way your copy, your funnels, your offer is going to those people. Now I'm going to tell you with Facebook and Meta, they have changed how the platform is, and it's just going to keep evolving because of AI. And that's why fundamental law number 3 that we're about to get into is going to be about embracing AI, because AI is now taking over our lives and making things easier, some things harder, but it's allowing us to automate certain things, and we got to understand how it works. So when Meta is producing AI in their platform and they're putting it out there, and you're using the tools, and you have to select audiences and what age, and you have to set your targeting yourself. Like now you have to kind of set your targeting, but starting like the end of this month, I don't know when you're watching this, but it's moving so quickly, technology, that you're not even going to be able to pick an audience pretty soon. Pick your interests, pick your ages. Meta is just going to do that for you. Why? Because they know whatever copy you put in, whatever the ad creatives, and they're analyzing that and transcribing it, they know who should be getting that particular information. So whatever your ad creative is, they're going to pull that data, and you're going to not need to know your target audience for ads. Right now, it's like lookalike audience, age, gender, location, that kind of stuff. But they took out interest. You can't like target people based on interest, based on who they follow, or like certain influencer brand names. So it's only going to evolve into more targeting based off of your lookalike audience or your email list or just the data that you have access to. And then the rest of it, they're going to pull with AI tools, your ad creatives and your copy and all that stuff. So you don't even need to worry about target audience analytics for ads themselves, but you need to do that research for your funnel and your offer. So that's why I left this in here. And, as AI keeps evolving, you'll need to do less of this inside the platform, but you need to do it for your business. Okay. All right. So pro tip. So I'm going to bring Jacob on. He's going to talk about this right now and avoid auction and audience overlap and understanding how to exclude these certain audiences so you don't just waste money. So Jacob, are you there?
Yeah, Jesse, let's dive in on some of these core principles that you have to master when advertising on Meta. And one of the best things that you can do to optimize your ad account is to focus on what's called ad auction overlap. Okay. So a lot of people get this wrong. And this is one of the first things that we do in our agency when we come and start working with the client. We'll go in and do a historical audit on how well the ad account is performing. And then we'll look for areas of opportunity, the low-hanging fruit that we could tackle first to optimize the account and then cut their customer acquisition costs. And that's exactly what we did with this client right here. This is actually, can I say who it is?
Sure.
It's Grant Cardone. There was something that I pinpointed right off the bat when I was on just basically a sales call with them looking at their ad account. And what I noticed was that the way that they had their ad account structured, it was set up to have massive amounts of ad auction overlap. And what that is, what I was telling Grant and his team, I was saying, hey, just by looking at your ad account here, what I see is that you are bidding against yourself in the ad auction multiple times over. And so I told them that, I shared this screen right here. And I said, now remember, you are entering an auction every time you want to advertise on Facebook. So these are all your competitors that are bidding against you to win the right to show their ad to this guy here. And I said, now imagine, Grant, you are bidding for that yacht, right? And you raise your paddle at, $1 million. And then you have got Grant also back here raising his paddle for $2 million. But then there's a third Grant in the back and he raises his paddle for $3 million. Okay. So let's say you do this. And I pointed this out and I said, it looks like you're doing this 25 times over. So you've got 25 Grant Cardones in the same room bidding for the same yacht, costing you, 75% more to win that auction than it should be. Okay. So they were wondering, like, how am I seeing this? Like, what am I looking at? And I didn't just outright say exactly what it was, but I said, we can work with you. And I can cut your customer acquisition cost in half within less than a week. Now, what we ended up doing with him was we cut his customer acquisition costs by 75% within 5 days of working with him. And the way that we did that was we focused on ad auction overlap. Okay. So sure enough, once I dove in and they signed up with us and they said, okay, you guys seem to know what you're doing. Let's see what we can do together. So as soon as we dove into their ad account, sure enough, I knew this was going to be the case. I actually know it was going to be this high, but we ran the reports on their ad auction overlap and we found out that their overlap was around 65%. And so you want your ad auction overlap, even with retargeting campaigns included, you want that around 2 to 3%. The fact that his ad auction overlap was around 65% told me right off the bat, you're spending millions of dollars to Mark Zuckerberg instead of going into your bank account. Okay. And the reason that he was doing that was that he had all of his ad sets set up with the exact same creative, but they're targeting very similar audiences. Okay. And he's doing that 25 times over. And so think about it. If you have the same ad creatives that are targeting small businesses as the same ad creatives down here in another ad set that is targeting entrepreneurs, well, like a Venn diagram, think how much auction overlap that's going to be. Small business owners are the same people as entrepreneurs, right? So he's spending money to target these people and he's bidding against himself in the ad auction to also target basically the same people. And then when you spread that out 25 times over, you're spending millions of dollars, in his case, to Mark Zuckerberg instead of to your own bank account. So one of the first things that we did was focus on this ad auction overlap. And we came in and we said, we need to simplify your ad account structure so you're not competing against yourself. Okay. So this works in two ways. One, you're not going to compete against yourself by advertising to the same people and bid against yourself. And two, by combining these similar ad sets, you're putting more money into one ad set instead of spreading thin over 25 ad sets, which allows you to double, triple, quadruple down on a winning ad set and put more firepower, more money behind that winning ad set and let the machine learning learn 25 times faster, pulling in more data into one ad set instead of spreading thin over 25 ad sets. So you're learning much faster. You're training the algorithm much faster and you're no longer competing against yourself in the ad auction. And we came in and by this one simple move, we cut his customer acquisition cost by 75% in 5 days of working with him. The second thing that we did to do this, it wasn't just ad auction overlap. It was also something that we focused on called first time impression ratio. So the way that Grant Cardone was out there advertising, he is running a lot of broad targeting to cold prospects, right? So he's prospecting, trying to find new people. But what we learned by running the numbers, and this was a little more of a deep dive on this, by running the numbers and comparing his ad spend to his first time impression ratios, he's not running broad cold prospecting campaigns. He's spending the most money, to what are effectively acting as retargeting campaigns. So he's using broad messaging to people who've seen his ads and are completely burnt out on his ads. So he's not finding new people and bringing them into his business. He's basically just spamming the same people over and over again because he's got these numbers wrong. And so this was one of the first things we did. We highlighted in red where all the main problem areas are. And the biggest spender was this one for his 10X live event, spent, in this time period, over 250,000, and his first time impression ratio was around 32%. This should be around maybe 2%. His biggest spender was for this 10X live event campaign that we were running. And he was spending over $250,000. He's spending over $250,000 on this campaign, thinking that he's going broad and prospecting to new clients. Well, he's not. He's actually just spending that for a retargeting campaign because his first time impression ratio is so high. So really, he should be around 2% on this broad prospecting campaign, but he's around 32%, which shows us that this is effectively a retargeting campaign. And that messaging for a retargeting campaign should be completely different than a cold audience for a broad prospecting campaign. So we went through and found out, where are all the trouble areas? We highlighted them in red and say, these are the spots that you're burning money. This is where we can optimize and improve. And you can see these got so many different campaigns running at one time. So between dialing in his first time impression ratio and simplifying his ad account structure and eliminating that ad auction overlap, Those two things right there can save a client millions of dollars. Or if you're not spending as much as Cardone, it could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you can even save you $10,000. And this is how you're going to win at meta advertising, is when you dial these principles in and get it right from the start.
Awesome. So Jacob, can you talk a little bit about these exclusions? Like, so you set your audience, you figure out who you're going to market to, and then you click on this exclude audience tab, and then you start popping these things in. How does that work?
Yeah, so exclusions are the way to combat that first time impression ratio, because you want to keep that low, especially for a broad prospecting campaign. So if you're trying to hit a new cold audience with your message to bring new people into your business, into your ecosystem, then you want to make sure that you're putting the proper exclusions in place, so you're not just spamming the same people over and over and over. Like, one example is, if you want to launch a prospecting campaign, then Meta gives you the ability to go in and exclude certain audiences. So what we would do with somebody like Grant, we would come in and he didn't have these exclusions in place, which is why the first time impression ratios were so high. So what we did was we came in and said, okay, by running this ad campaign to small business owners, right? Well, a lot of those small business owners have already consumed your content. They've already been on your landing page. They've already maybe even made a purchase from you. So why send that message to people who have already made that purchase, right? You're just spamming them at that point and you're wasting your money. So what we wanted to do was we came in and we set these exclusions in place, and we excluded his buyers from that broad prospecting campaign. Right there, we're dropping down that first time impression ratio. And then we took it a step further and said, okay, since this is broad and we're finding new people, let's also exclude all the website visitor views that have come through. So we set that as an exclusion as well. Now our audience size has gone down, but we're targeting a more cold audience who has not consumed Grant Cardone's content as of yet. And therefore the messaging that we're sending them is more relevant, and we're not spamming them and we're not burning them out because we set those exclusions in place.
So I'm going to move along now to law number 3, embracing the AI tools. So now I'm going to bring Jacob out to show the basic overview of his complete AI system for creating ads. And this is going to be like mind blowing. So make sure you're paying close attention and following along here. So Jacob, do you want to share screen now and kind of show them how this works?
Okay, so what I want to show you is how you can easily leverage AI to build out winning ad creatives and crush it on Meta platforms for your business. So let me just tell you this quick little story about this client that we onboarded called Tiny Boat Nation. Now, our agency specializes in technology, so I don't really know about the boating industry or anything like that. But this was a friend of a friend who came through, and they really wanted us to help them out. So I had to learn quick on how to build out ad creatives that would win on the Meta platform. So I turn to AI to do this. And it's just the easiest way that you can build out winning creatives. So what I did is I go to the website of my new client, right? And then what I like to do is go and find their YouTube. Okay. So first thing is I'll go to their YouTube, and I will learn about, usually a client will have an explainer video about their product, right? And we've done this for blockchain companies, lots of tech SaaS companies out there that have complex products, right? But even like a boating commercial ad, or these people help you build like your dream boat in your garage, basically. So what I want to do is find out where's the best explainer video that explains their product. And let's just say it's this one right here. Okay. So I'm going to take this video URL, and let's see. Let me just grab the URL. That's not it. Okay, let me just go ahead and grab a video. So I want to go in and I want to find, like, where is their explainer video that explains what the product is. Okay, so let's just say it's this one. Okay, so you're going to grab this URL from YouTube, and then I'm just going to go take it into ChatGPT. Okay, so let me just type in ChatGPT. I'm sure most people know what this is by now. What you need is ChatGPT 4. And it's like $20 a month. And what you really want is to have the plugin installed called Vox Script. So in a further training, I teach you how to like set this all up. But in a nutshell, you need this thing called Vox Script. And once you have that in place, you can allow ChatGPT to read this YouTube video and spit out all the information about this client and give you your detailed video script that you can then use AI to create. So let me just say, learn this, okay? And then I might prompt it a little better, but for sake of time, I'm just going to have ChatGPT start using Vox Script. and it's going to go through, it's going to grind through the whole thing, and it's going to kick out everything that this client provides, what their value propositions are, how it works, right? It's going to learn everything that it needs to know to give you the ability to write winning ad creatives out of that. Okay. So let's say, it's going to grind through. It takes a little bit of time, but once it grinds through, and it does everything there, we're going to go ahead and use the information that it just learned. And then let me just go through here and I'll show you the script that I pulled up from it. So it's going to learn everything about that. And then basically what I say is, okay, it kicks out all this information. And I tell ChatGPT, okay, now that you've learned this, write me a cinematic commercial explainer video. And this is the way I prompted it. We have a good film production budget with high-end cameras and drones. Make it fit for a national television commercial. Write it so it's a direct response ad that encourages users to visit the online store and purchase. Highlight any pain points the viewer might be experiencing with their boats and show how Tiny Boat Nation is the solution to these pain points. So ChatGPT then, next thing you know, it kicks out this beautiful explainer video that is going to be our ad that we can use and run on social media. So right off the bat, it says, a high aerial drone shot swooping over sparkling lake. And then it has the narrator. It kicks out the whole story. It says, this is the narrator in a deep, confident tone. We all share the same dream, freedom on the water. But let's be real, building your own boat isn't always smooth sailing. Like, this is a great script right off the bat. And I've done like 5 minutes of work to get this video explainer script that we can use. So the next thing, and I'm going to burn through this real quick, is I'm going to go into an AI generator, a voice generator called 11 Labs. And I want to take the entire script, the narrator script, and I plug it into 11 Labs, and that kicks out the entire voiceover script for me that I can use to create this video. And in this case, like, because of the way that I imagine it in my mind, I kind of imagine like a Chevy truck commercial, like, these are the real working men of America kind of deal. So I stole this voice from Sam Elliott, who, he's like an old Western, kind of guy here. And he's got this great voice, and that's the voice I wanted to use. So I basically ripped this off YouTube, plugged that into 11 Labs, and now I have Sam Elliott as my voiceover. Okay. So now that I have the AI kicked out the video script, and now the AI built me the entire voiceover, now what I do is I go over to iStock, and I just start grabbing these clips. Like, it's saying, okay, you're frustrated, you're in the hardware stores, you don't know, like, ChatGPT kicked out the entire script for me. So I just find every single visual shot that it tells me to do. And let me just show you, can I just show the final product for this AI video that I created?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So just to recap, you're using ChatGPT, grabbing the script from there, plugging it into 11 Labs, then going over to Shutterstock, and then selecting all the images that it told you to grab. And then you just pop it in, you edit it all together, and then here's the outcome.
Right. And the key is that you use something like Vox Script to scrape the YouTube, which teaches ChatGPT everything you need to know. Okay. So the final script that we created, this is it. And this is with Sam Elliott's voice. I took some music from, Home Depot. They have this kind of like recognizable. I love taking things that are recognizable and running it on Meta. If you can get away with it, do it, because people like that kind of stuff. So here's the script that it kicked out.
We all share the same dream, freedom on the water. But let's be real, building your own boat isn't always smooth sailing. You're drowning in tutorials, lost in hardware stores, and your dream boat remains just that, a dream. But what if you could skip all that hassle and go straight to the good part? At Tiny Boat Nation, we offer step-by-step video tutorials. Crystal clear, easy to follow, just how you want it. Tap into a community that speaks your language, sharing tips and tricks that actually work. Still think you need another trip to the hardware store? Think again. We've got everything you need in our online store, handpicked and tested by experts. Stuck on a problem? Our master builders have got your back. So why dream when you can build? It's time to turn the tides. Visit us online and make your dream a reality today. Tiny Boat Nation. Built, not bought. Your dream boat is just a click away.
And there you go. You've got a complete ad that's beautiful. It's got a good voiceover. It's got, stock footage is great. It looks gorgeous. And you've got a script that is a winning script as a direct response ad. And that took me probably all in 45 minutes to create an ad that's going to generate, and does generate, this company hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is the power of using AI with your Meta advertising, and you can build this stuff out for really inexpensive, and in about 45 minutes you can have winning ads on the platform. So don't think you have to be some amazing producer or have these big cinema cameras like you see behind me. You can do this on your computer in 45 minutes for like $60 all in, I would say.
That's amazing, Jacob. So if you guys are loving that, put a yes in the chat. Jacob's a master at that. We go into more detail in the Traffic Syndicate course. So now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen back again. We're going to bring out Peter Deli. Peter, are you there?
Yeah, so my process is focused a lot more on the copy that's going into your ad creative. And so my belief is that the prompts that you're using are super important, right? A lot of people think, oh, they're not getting good quality out of the AI, but it's all about the prompts that you put in. If you put the right instructions, you're going to get good quality output coming out of it. So what we did is we sat down with our copywriters and really thought about all the variables that go into a good ad. What's the tone of voice that you're using? Who's the spokesperson of the ad? All of those things. And then we put those variables into our prompts. And so our whole strategy revolves around just getting more ad variables out of it. We can, I think, click ahead a little bit. But the whole idea for me is getting 10 times more ad creative, and 10 times is kind of the low end. Really, we're looking for more than that, 100 times more ad creative. But even think at the low end, if you're testing 25% more ad creative than your competition, you're going to have a real competitive advantage there. So once we run the ads, we take that data into an AI BI tool, business intelligence tool. And so the tool that we use is called Accio. I really like Accio for a number of reasons, but it's really good for that data evaluation. And then what you do is you take it and you run it through the machine learning models in there. You find out what variables correlate to performance, and then you write 1,000 more variants of that ad. And then you take those 1,000 more variants of the ad and you drop it back into the machine learning model, and you get a predictive score for what's going to hit your KPI or your key performance indicator. When we run spend, we always have one main goal, and that's the KPI goal that we put into the machine learning model. And then with this next batch of ad, we got a score we were testing without even putting any live spend to it, which is, for me, it's a big game changer. And then we go launch those variants into the campaign. And then rinse and repeat. You do the whole thing all over again when you have the data off of that batch of ads.
Yeah, so this is kind of a way to test your ads without even running ads or spending money, because you're asking the AI and the machine learning process to tell you how well the ad's going to perform, so you can go and just keep tweaking and testing until you find that one ad. And can you share some of the results? Like, just talk about like a couple clients you've done this with, and the results right out of the gate.
Yeah.
How that's going? Yeah,
the first time we deployed it, it was 159% increase in ROAS in the first month. When I say ROAS, that's return on ad spend, essentially an ROI profitability calculation off of the spend. And then the second time we pulled it out, it was over 140% increase in ROAS in the first 30 days that we're using the process.
Yeah, and usually how long does it take to get to that point if you're not using the process, would you say?
Well, no, we worked on an account.
Months?
We worked on an account, Jesse, where the client never hit their KPI goals, right? He's managed spend. He had other agencies managing the spend. And then we used this model on that account, and we actually reached the client's profitability objectives for the very first time. And so, yeah, it could be a lifetime without this.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into ChatGPT-4. I know Jacob touched on it a little. So just kind of share your process for using it, how it works, just real quick.
Yeah, so we built out a whole prompt generator that we plug in here, and then we'll run prompts through for the specific outputs, and we're very specific about the outputs that we're looking for. Things are evolving. When we built out our process, it was a year ago. And so ChatGPT has evolved, and now there's custom GPTs that you can build out and put more context to it. But the fundamentals of it remain the same. And so, yeah, we'll run the prompt like this, and then we'll get the outputs. When we get the outputs, we ask for a lot. Like we're looking for 1,000 headlines. Sometimes not exactly 1,000, because you got to take man hours to weed through that, but at least 100. And then we're looking for the top 5% of those variants, and then we just cherry pick the ones we like, and then we launch those in. We don't do a lot of editing with what we get out of it. I think we can go to the next one. Yeah, so Accio. Accio is a tool that we use to everyone's using AI for content generation, right? People are making videos and writing copy and getting these cool images and all of that stuff, but it has just as much power on the data side in terms of cutting down the time it takes to do data analysis, making reports, and then also the level of insights that you're getting out of that, and just making some of these machine learning models more accessible. So Accio is a huge part of that process for us.
Thanks, Peter. That was awesome. So Peter is definitely a master at AI and understanding how to use it for your ads to optimize and test before you even go live with an ad. So, and he goes deep into this in the Traffic Syndicate courses and the group coaching. So now let's take what we just went over and fundamental law number 4, writing effective ad copy. So now this is the kind of a quick fundamental law because we did all the work already with the AI law. We went on ChatGTP. We got a whole bunch of different variants. You know, Peter's talking about hundreds or thousands of different variants, putting them through a machine learning process with AKO and some of these other tools. And bam, now we got our best copy that we're going to use for our ad. And we're going to put it, copy and paste it in and, you know, go live with the ad in just a second. But, you know, ChatGTP, we put some prompts in, we did a little bit of legwork, but then it did most of the work to get us pretty close to a highly converting ad copy that we can just plug into the ad. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. Now we're going to move on to fundamental law number 5, creating compelling ad creatives. Now we're going to bring out Jacob here and he's going to show you some of the tools we're going to talk about. And I tried to make it as basic, beginner as possible. So everything on the left, like ChatGPT, iPhone, smartphone, Filmic Pro, Rode Boom, Ring Light, Canva, iMovie, that's kind of the beginner tools that you're going to use to create killer ad creatives. Now moving forward, like Canon, Sony, Red cameras, you know, Red cameras like Super Pro. So anyway, Jacob, can you explain some of these tools, how you use them all together? And then we're going to talk about like how to turn your iPhone into a cinema camera next.
Yeah. So I'm actually consulting with a film producer and giving him ideas of how he could put together this low ticket offer because he produces really cinematic films. I've hired him for some of my big budget films for like the Olympic Games and stuff like that. Now not everybody's going to sign up for $100,000 production with him. So I'm trying to get him to learn the ways to have a low ticket offer so he can go out and turn his iPhone into a cinema camera and then run, you know, $2,500 film productions, right? Like kind of run and gun kind of style. And so some of the stuff that we're going over is, taking your iPhone and putting the right apps on it and the right adaptable lenses and things like ND filters so that you can basically create gorgeous footage with what you have in your pocket. So some of the things that we go into to do this is one of the things that you need is to open up all the manual settings in your iPhone, to get access to things like the shutter and the aperture and, you know, the frame rates, right? You can do all of this stuff. The phones have the capability of it, but you need a third-party app to open up all of that stuff, to unlock the features, right? So one of the things that we listed out here is called Filmic Pro. It's a great third-party smartphone app. You can get it for Android or for iPhone. Check that one out. It's going to allow you to open up those features so you can properly set up your phone to be a cinema camera. And what this does is if you rig it out right with the right lenses and the right, you know, lighting and everything like that, there's certain principles in filmmaking that you can learn, like what is a frame rate versus a shutter speed, right? And if you get the frame rate ratio with the shutter speed, that's how a Red camera shoots. And you can't do that just by hitting auto on your iPhone. It looks like an iPhone. Okay. So if you can open up the manual capabilities with a third party app like Filmic Pro, you can learn, and this is what we go over in Traffic Syndicate is teaching you this stuff. You can really learn how to take what's in your pocket and make it look like, you know, a $50,000 camera, or at least comparable to the average eye. And then there's other things that you can do, like rigging it up with a boom mic or a lavalier mic, like something that clips to you. Audio is half the battle when it comes to good film production. And most people miss that point. And so they think it's all about the visuals, right? But if you can get the audio right, you've leveled up your game exponentially. So if you can get a lav mic on yourself or a clip mic, so it's really close to your face, you're going to get good audio. If you can trick out your phone, so you're opening up the manual settings, you're going to get beautiful visuals. And then you can do things even like, getting like a cheap gimbal, like a stabilizer, right? You can go to Best Buy, or any kind of electronic store, and you can get a stabilizer for like $150, or you can go on Craigslist or eBay and get one of the older models for like $75. And that's going to allow you to get really good movement shots, right? So if you're a coach or a consultant and you want to get those kind of walk and talk shots, have somebody grab their iPhone, put it on a gimbal, and then, you know, put a lens on it and then adjust the lighting with what's called a neutral density filter. You can put all this stuff on an iPhone. And if you put all these things together with good lighting, you can absolutely have have a cinematic film production or cinematic ad creatives with what you have in your pocket. So we dive more into that in the Traffic Syndicate courses, but that's just a kind of an overview of the capabilities you already have with you if you do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's some of the tools. You guys take a screenshot of this. This is what we've been using to create these killer ad creatives. Now, you can do it on a very low budget with all the things on the left-hand side, and it could look something like this, right? And, you have your ring lights, like $30, a Rode mic like that. How much is that, Jacob, would you say? And then you got your
like
iPhone.
$50.
with the stand.
Down to $50.
Yeah. So and then you get your settings right with that app. I mean, you're at $100, and now you're like making really quality ad creatives, with a person talking in front of the camera, which a lot of people are doing, right? I mean, there's different ways to film it, and you wouldn't need all that stuff if you're just filming an ad of like B-roll and like some voiceover stuff and using Shutterstock, images or whatever to create your ad. So yeah.
Right. And
awesome.
there's certain principles of just, depth and lighting, right? Like if I was slammed up against the background here, this wood background, I wouldn't have that 3D depth, right? So it wouldn't look as good. If I didn't have lighting on one side and less lighting on the other, and I wasn't, kind of the forefront of this and my light was wrong in the background, then it's not going to look as good. So it's when you combine all of these strategies and these tactics together, that's how you really, that's really how you stand out on a platform like Meta. And that's going to increase your conversions. That's going to basically make you more money on the platform when you get these principles right. Okay, so this part is all about just understanding that it's really about standing out on the platform. And one of the best ways to do that is use stunning visuals to stand out. So just like we were talking about with the iPhone, leveling up your game with a phone, with what you already have in your pocket, put those principles in place and you're going to stand out more on the platform. You're going to get better conversions. You're going to make more money with the platform, right? Same thing with, these kind of ads right here. These were a lot of the ads that I would create while working at Facebook. There were a lot of motion graphic ads, and we would always use stunning visuals and come up with creative concepts. So this one right here, back when I created this, they didn't have such strict rules around mocking up their UI. They're a little more tight on that now. But the whole idea was this was a top of funnel ad that we wanted to get as much attention as we possibly could by running an awareness ad, to then use that to then go and retarget people with more of a sales based ad. Now this ad absolutely blew up on the platform. It got so much engagement. It just popped. It stood out. When you see it on a phone, it really blends into the phone. So it feels like the spider and the blood is dripping over the phone. And everybody wants to share an ad like this. People want to talk about how they're mad because the spider scared them. People are, whatever it is, the engagement goes through the roof. And when you get an ad like this and everybody's engaging with it, then you're not paying for all of that additional marketing. You're not paying ad spend to get that shared, right? We're tapping into organic marketing, and this ad goes viral and you're spending next to nothing on that ad. And overall, it didn't really cost me much to create an ad like this. I grabbed a picture off of Shutterstock, which I have a subscription to. And then, I had a little bit of design stuff to do to put the nails on there. And this, I think the blood was just it was just a drip over a green screen that I cut out and kind of put on there. And the spider was just, I grabbed that off of YouTube. It was just a green screen spider walking on just across a green screen. So I just keyed that out. So minimal design, right? And I could absolutely hire somebody on Fiverr to do this for me for like $50. So all in, I would say this ad should cost you about no more than $70 to create. And this can generate you hundreds of thousands of dollars on the platform when done right. So this is just a look at like how you want to focus on ad creative. This is one that I did for United Airlines, and it's really basic. Just simple graphics right there. I actually built this out with a template that I grabbed off of Video Hive. These are all just a couple templates. I think I spent a total of maybe $60 on a few templates and just kind of smashed this stuff all together in After Effects. And you can absolutely create ads like this just by grabbing some templates and then hiring somebody on Fiverr if you have a good creative idea, right? Just a postcard. This is supposed to mock up an old postcard. I just grabbed all that stuff for like $20 on Video Hive, and then I created it myself, but I could absolutely hire somebody to do it for me. And the reason that this works is because it stands out on the platform. It really pops, right? So these kind of ads for United Airlines, I know this one in particular, it generated, well, comboed with another one that I could show you later. Comboed up, this one generated around $500,000 for their ad campaign that we ran over the course of 6 months. So these ads can absolutely crush it. And it's not going to make everyone $500,000 because you're not United Airlines, but you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars if you get this game right. So I just wanted to kind of go over like, these are the kind of ads that you need to be creating to stand out on the platform.
Yeah, a couple of things I want to jump in here. So the one thing that stands out that Jacob was, the word that he said was attention, right? These ads get attention. So as you watch Jacob's ads and how they're cleverly put together, they're clever, they get attention, they're cool ideas. You guys can steal these ideas and do them for your business. We're going to show you like a really cool e-commerce one that you can do, or like opens up a box. So that's just something to think about. Attention. Just how do I grab people's attention in a creative way? And these are some really cool things that you guys can try to do. Now, Jacob, you said that ad generated like 500,000. Like how much did you spend on ads? Cause I know you always run a lot of budgets or ads that you have like really low budgets, and I'm shocked at the results. So
right? It's all about your return on ad spend. So our ads, like we're typically getting around, I think this one was around a 10x return on ad spend that we got. These ones absolutely crushed it. And we combined it with like a series of different ads too. We ran these stories based ads. These are newsfeed ads. When we comboed those up together, we just kept seeing the customer acquisition costs just drop, down to nothing. And then from once we figure that out, we start scaling the ad campaigns, and that's how we're able to win on the platform.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's go ahead one slide and then show them that's a story ad, right? The next one.
Okay, perfect. So this is a story ad that we created. I built this one for a company called OpenTable, which is an online dinner reservation app, right? So you can go get reservations at whatever Olive Garden on a Friday night, and you just use OpenTable to book that, right? So OpenTable reached out and they wanted me to create these ads, and they didn't know how we were going to create them. And at the time, this was 2017. Stories was all the rage. They had just launched Stories in the platform. And when Meta launches something new in the platform, here's just a pro tip: go do what Meta just released, because they put multiple millions of dollars into developing that thing. So go play the game that they want you to play, because they're going to prioritize you in the ad auction if you're playing the game they want. And in this case, it was Stories. Now it's Reels. Now it even comes down to things like Advantage, Campaign Plus, shopping, whatever it is. They put millions of dollars of dev into that thing within the ads manager too. Dynamic creative, whatever it is, go play the game that they're wanting you to play. So go always stay up on the latest trends, right? That's what you want to do with this. So in this case, Stories was the latest trend. And so when I worked with OpenTable, I said, okay, let's leverage Stories. And instead of just, putting an ad out there that, talks about OpenTable and how you can book reservations at your favorite restaurant, let's build it out so it's an interactive game. And let's make it so they have to play the game to find out where they're going to be dining next. But here's the kicker. We forced where they're going to be dining next every single time. So we build out a rigged game. And okay, so they're looking at me like, okay, how are you going to possibly do this? And so I tell them, okay, well, the way Stories works, it's a series of 3 videos. Okay. And when you tap, and we kind of lay this all out, there's, this is the user interface of Stories. Now there is if you tap on Stories, it pauses. If you tap over here, it goes forward. And if you tap here, it goes backwards, right? So it flips forward or it flips backwards, depending on where you're actually tapping. So there's interactivity built into Stories, right? Up here, there is a clickable profile picture. Down here, if you swipe up, it's going to swipe up and take you to a landing page. So all of these things come together, and if you build out your Stories right, you can have interactivity built into your ads, okay? So knowing how the UI and the UX actually works, we can build out ads that are gamified and rigged to land on wherever we want every single time. So that's exactly what we did. So this is, it's a series of 3 different it's a carousel. That's what they give you, 3 different ads that you can run. And the first one just says tap the game to start, right? So you get all these beautiful, cuisines right here. It stands out. It looks very visually appealing. And it says play the game, right? So when you play the game and you tap the screen, it's going to start flashing all these cuisines on the frame. Okay. And it's telling you to tap to choose where you're going to be dining next. Okay. So whenever you tap though, this is the trick of it. We mocked up that 3rd frame to look exactly like the last frame over in the second story. The 3rd story in the sequence is rigged to land on wherever we want you to land on every single time. So we rigged it in this case to land on the burger. Okay. So for a split second, it lands on the burger, but you didn't see it flip. It just looks like you randomly landed on the burger. Okay. Cause when you tap, boom, it takes you to here, and then it goes away and says, oh, congratulations. You landed on whatever, some high-end burger joint, and good luck, or, good for you. Now go ahead and book reservations at the burger joint. So they're going to feel like they landed on the burger, but really we rig the game to show that burger to them, to get them to book reservations at that burger, restaurant, right? And then when they swipe up, they go to the landing page of where we rigged the game to be. And we could do this for, Cheesecake Factory, for Olive Garden. We can make them land on wherever we want to do it. And the beauty of it is these are built out as retargeting campaigns. So we're only showing ads to people who are already looking at, Forbes Steakhouse or Ruth Chris or something like that, right? They already were looking at it. And then when they play the game, they land on Ruth Chris Steak, and then they can go book reservations at that place, right? So we already have the data and we're retargeting them. So we're rigging the system to make them land where we want by building out these interactive ads. And these ads absolutely crush it. You're going to get so much engagement with it, and you're going to get such high conversions that Facebook's going to love you. And then you're going to spend next to nothing because you're playing the game. And earlier we talked about the total value formula. You're rigging the total value formula in your favor so you could spend next to nothing to get conversions.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jacob, we'll keep moving forward, but the viewers out there, if you're selling like a course, or you're selling like a real estate program, or you're selling like, a e-commerce product, or you're selling cars, or you're selling, cream for your bald head, you could like do this for that business too, right?
Yeah, and that's what I love about that. That's a great point is these ads, I'm always into ads that don't cost much to make. I mean, that ad with, some Shutterstock stuff, I got a subscription, so I just download all that stuff. I think I spent about 4 hours creating that. All in, I think it's $20 ad can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the best part is you can rinse and repeat that same idea, like you're saying, for another company, which is exactly what I did when I went and worked with United Airlines. And I said, instead of, they wanted to target Maui tickets, for a retargeting ad. So I said, okay, well, what if we say, you want to go figure out where you're vacation to next? We'll tap the game to play. And then instead of cuisines, you tap the game and all these destinations are popping up. Now, no matter when you tap, it's rigged to land on Maui every single time because we already knew you were looking at Maui. And then you swipe up and lo and behold, there's reservations with some discounted tickets to Maui in the wintertime. And that combined, that's how we made that, $500,000 ad campaign that we ran for them, by running these rigged ads, these interactive ads. And you can just rinse and repeat this for, if you're an agency owner, for client after client after client. And they're going to think you're some mad genius who just thought of this. Really, it's just a formula that you just rinse and repeat, and it's proven to work. So, and we've got tons of different templates and ideas on how you can master this. And there's just so many things you could do when you start thinking on this level of advertising on Meta.
Yeah, awesome. So Jacob, you want to keep going through your slides?
And so like I was saying, we've got, so many different ideas that you can use, to build out ad creatives like this. And we actually put together this, template, this creative ads template for you to get these ideas and start implementing this into your business. And this is going to help you kind of think outside the box on how you can, really stand out above all the competition and win the ad auction at the cheapest price points possible. So this is kind of this creative template that we put together. And these are just ads that we did for multiple companies where we're playing with the interactivity of the platform, right? So on stories, you get this swipe up feature. And all we did was we mocked up what the actual, this is what the landing page looks like. So I just took a screenshot of it and then made this silly little video here that's prompting you to swipe up and see what's under the box, right? And then just by that, when you scroll and you see an ad like that, our click-through rates are going to absolutely crush it. And these ads stand out and get conversions at like minimal price points. Same with this one. When you play with like these swipe up features and we're making these ads to be kind of native to how the platform works, people like interacting with ads like this. It's very much like native to how you already use the platform. So it's prompting you. It's just like it's attracting your thumb to engage with these kind of ads. And we've got all kinds of different ways that we can do this. Like one of the features of stories is they have this clickable profile button right here. And so when we run like campaigns or follow campaigns for Instagram, you actually don't want people to hit the learn more or the follow now because that takes you through additional steps. What you really want people to do is just click this button right here, right? So if you click that button, it's going to take you directly to the Instagram page and then you could like that page. Now that increases conversion rates significantly. And when you can increase conversion rates, your estimated action rates go through the roof, which allow you to win the ad auction at lower price points. Okay. So if you can direct people to this button right here, just a simple arrow saying tap right here, right? Your call to action is completely different. They're not going to go click learn more. They're going to go click that button that you're directing them to. And these are just different ideas on how you can learn how the platform actually works and build better creatives that get better engagement. This is like one that we did for Tide. We actually used the scroll bar or the status what is this? The progression bar up here to wipe the shirt clean. So the whole ad is this, like in the matter of, 5 seconds, and it goes with the status bar. I don't know if you can see that. This one's a little longer. But we use that status bar to go from before to after, right? So we go from bland to glam in the matter of 10 seconds. So these are just different creative ways that we train you how to think about advertising and how to really stand out so you can bid the least amount and maximize your investment on the platform. So this is how you win at meta advertising.
Guys, put in the chat, put a yes if you think that you can do some of these ideas, or you got at least one idea that you can go put it into action and create that ad for your business right now to test it, or you've gotten at least 5 ideas to this point from all the AI stuff with the ads, with the targeting. Put a yes in the chat if you guys think that you can do this to this point, or you can put questions in the chat as well. We'll get to those at the end. We're super pumped to really help you get this stuff set up. So why set up your retargeting pixels? So we want to understand, what is a pixel? That's a piece of code that you're going to place on your website that's going to track, it's going to track all the visitors that are hitting your website. But you can also place a pixel on your funnel to track all the pages and the progression that people are doing through the entire buying process. Now, how this works is, and Jacob, you can share more on this as well, but when people go and they watch your video, or they go to your website after, they watch your video ad, then they go to your website, and now they're going to bounce around the internet. They're going to go to like YouTube. They're going to go to Twitter, TikTok. They're going to go back to your website again. They're going to be in their email. You're going to be able to retarget people with ads, with ad placements of interested buyers that go down the progression and the entire, all the steps of your funnel, whether they're going to your opt-in page, or they're opting in, going to the next page, or they're watching your video and they're clicking to go to the lead page, but they don't fill out the form, or they fill out the lead page and then you go to the next page. You want to make sure that you're tracking these people through the progression of the entire buying process, and you're able to convert you're putting an ad in front of them. You're able to convert at a higher level more consistently because you're following them along and you're putting the perfect ad at the right time. So this is part of revenue attribution, identity tracking, cross-channeling, and hitting them on different devices. So we'll just move right along. So when you go into Facebook ads, you're going to go to a place where it's set up a new pixel. You're going to copy that code. You can just click that green button there, and then you just copy that code and put it in the head tag of your website or in your funnel manager. And if you don't know how to do that, you can probably go to the resources section. If it's like a WordPress site, you can Google it, but you're just copying and pasting that code, sticking it in the head tag, saving that. And then you're going to go over to your website and you can go check and see if that pixel is installed correctly. So once your pixel is set up on your funnel, on your page, and you've checked that, now we use a couple of reporting softwares. So Peter, are you there? Can you talk about Wicked Reports, how we use that for advanced people? If you're a beginner, we use something called Segmetrics. So this is the revenue attribution part and tracking your visitors to generate more sales and make more money within your funnel. So go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, especially for if any of you guys out there are entrepreneurs, you might think of revenue as like money in the bank. But for marketers, it's not quite that simple, because different campaigns, maybe 5 different campaigns, influence that $1 that came into your bank account, right? And so we use various tools for attributing out the value of that sale back to the various touch points that came in. What Jesse just showed you on the pixel, that is in itself revenue attribution, right? Facebook is trying to attribute out that sale towards sometimes it's multiple Facebook touch points that are driving that one sale. And so these are 2 tools that we use to really build it out. Segmetrics is not quite as sophisticated. It's a little bit cheaper. It's what we usually use at low spend volumes. And then when we scale up, we'll use these tools like Wicked Reports, which has a bit more. I think when you go in Segmetrics, there's first touch, there's last touch, and Wicked Reports, we have a lot more touch points that you could attribute revenue out of. But for these campaigns, really think about the AI automation that's come in on things, right? On Google, there's a lot more automation now than there was when I got started with Google Ads 11, 12 years ago, right? And so these automations really are powered by data. And so when we're sending back more data and better data into those touch points, you're going to have an advantage in these new automation systems we're competing in.
All right, moving right along to fundamental law number 7, optimizing for mobile. And this is super important because 90% of all your traffic is going to be coming to on a mobile device. They're going to be scrolling around on their phone. They're going to be on Facebook. They're going to see your ad. They're going to click on it. And you need to optimize your funnel landing page or wherever you're sending them for mobile. So if you're sending them to a lead form like this, you got to make sure that the form is above the fold, that they can see it. They can easily get to it. It gives them the steps. They can easily fill out the information. So make sure you're testing it and make sure it looks amazing for mobile and make sure that the conversions are lining up so you can take advantage of that traffic. So so you're going to have to make sure that you optimize your landing pages for all platforms, whether it's desktop or, all browsers, I should say, whether it's desktop or, on mobile devices like iPads and stuff like that, or a cell phone. So they all have different dimensions. So make sure you're testing it on all of those devices. And because 90% of all your traffic is going to be coming from a phone. So you want to make sure that you got that covered. All right. So moving right along, fundamental law number 8, set a realistic budget. A lot of my clients, they try to move too fast into ads when they're not exactly ready for it. So, or they're trying to spend too much money. So I always say your maximum that you should spend 10 to 20% of your monthly profit. That's it. So if you're profiting $1,000 a month in your business, after you pay yourself, after you pay your team, you should be spending $100 to $200 per month on ads. You shouldn't be spending $5,000 a month on ads if your monthly profit is $1,000. You're going to go out of business. You're going to say ads don't work. You're going to get discouraged and you're going to ultimately quit. And I don't want you guys to fail. So I want you to set the realistic budget to move forward. So 10 to 20% max of your profit. Again, after you pay yourself, pay your team, whatever's left over, your net profit, take 10 to 20% of that. That's your ad budget that you're going to either pay somebody to run ads or you're going to run ads yourself. And that's all you're going to pay for the month towards ads. Okay. That's as much as you're going to test. So you're going to set a daily budget of $5, $10 a day, or, hey, if you're profiting $10,000, now you can spend $1,000 to $2,000. You can spend a little bit more per day, like $20, $30, $40 per day. So this concept right here is super important. This is what Jacob always talks about. So Jacob, do you want to talk about this? Because I want to get into like budgeting and understanding like your marketing towards a cold audience is different than marketing towards a warm audience on Meta and is different than marketing to a hot audience. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So basically the way that Meta has it broken out is if you're going to go for different objectives, you need to understand that there's different price points per objective that you're targeting, right? So if you're going to go to a cold audience with an awareness-based campaign, you just want to get your brand out there, but you're not necessarily asking for a lead or a sale or anything like that. That's going to be an awareness campaign, which is going to be cheaper to run on Meta than, let's say, a sales-based campaign where you're actually asking them to become a lead, give you their email, or buy something, right? So knowing that there's different price points for these different phases is really important in how we structure our ad accounts and how we build out our creatives and how we just approach marketing in general on the platform. So one example is, for United Airlines, with the last example I gave, we used a stories ad as a retargeting ad for a hot audience that we pixeled, and we already knew where they were looking and where they were at least interested in going, which was Maui, right? So what we did for that was, at first, we ran a traffic campaign, which is cheaper. We ran a traffic campaign as a more general ad that says, United Airlines book around the world or something like that, right? That's kind of the postcard ad that I showed you. It's not actually saying where to go. It's just saying United Airlines, book now, right? And so then we pixeled where people are looking at. And then we launch a hot audience, to anybody who was looking at, this case, Maui, right? We're going to ask for a sales campaign, which is more expensive to run, but we're not wasting our time and our money advertising to a crowd that we don't know if they're interested in traveling to Maui. We use the hot sales-based campaign and spend more money to only target people that are already expressed interest in going to Maui. And we build out different ad creatives that are targeting them specifically. And those were the stories ads that were rigged to land on Maui every single time. So by combining this cold, warm, and hot audience with different objectives that we're asking for and at different price points, it's the best way to maximize your ad spend and get the most bang for your buck. So you're not spending money on the wrong people. You're only spending the most money on the hottest audience. And that's how Meta actually works. So there's a whole strategy behind it. That's, the strategy we use in a nutshell. That's what we did for United Airlines, but we dive into that in Traffic Syndicate and really train you on how to master this so you can win at Meta advertising at the cheapest price points possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Chris Crone, another way that we do it is he runs a lot of organic traffic. He's doing posts every single day, putting out 5-10 videos per day on all platforms, Meta, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. All of those platforms are running organic traffic. And then we're retargeting those people with different ads to go to his events, and then all the way down to like partners and like getting people into different custom audiences. So there's just different ways to really drill down into a perfect buyer, get the ad in front of those people. Don't overspend or run ads in ways where you're allocating the budget in the wrong way, or you're doing auction overlap, audience overlap. And you can really just follow these steps to create no-fail ad campaigns. So setting a realistic test budget for cold, and I'm just going to put all these things up here so we can just go over this. So like ads, we tend to run, $5 a day. Like if you're just starting out with a test budget, you're going to be getting people just to like your page, the page that you're going to be running traffic from. So you can get social proof on there. So doing like quotes, images, different types of things that, hey, if you like this, you're going to get more of this from this page. Do some organic stuff on that page. Because if people are clicking on the page, or they're clicking on your ad, but then they're going to go check out the page, you don't want it to look like a ghost town. You want it to look credible. You want it to look like you got a lot going on. So you definitely want to get some followers. You want to get some engagement, and just get your brand in front of people, right? And get them engaging with your videos and some of the organic content that you're putting out. And then you can run awareness ads for really cheap, like $5 to $10 per day, where you're putting out some video testimonials, some informational videos with no call to action, just information about you and your company, or different stories that you can tell that are powerful. And you're not really driving them to buy anything. You're just letting them know who you are. And you're getting people to watch like 50 to 100% of your videos. And then you're going to be spending money on your conversion ads, which are going to be your most expensive ads that are going to be generating actual leads or actual sales. And you're driving them off of Meta onto your landing page and into your funnel with $25 or $200 per day. This is a good starting range when you're starting. It depends on your campaign, depends on your budget, depends on your business. Like I said, you want to spend 10 to 20% of your profit to be testing and running your ads. And then as you start getting success with your ads, you're break even, you're getting a 2x to 5x return on ad spend, then you can start ramping it up. So how much would you guys, Peter first, and then Jacob, how much would you guys spend on ads? Like once you start seeing that the ads are working, you start feeling comfortable, you're above break even, kind of doing this kind of system here that we've laid out. Then how do you ramp up the ad? How do you go to the next phase and like start spending more money comfortably without doing anything that you're going to?
So I started scaling campaigns a long time ago when you could be a lot more aggressive. And so I still am quite aggressive in how I scale. I think that you can go up pretty quickly, but then if you're coming back down, you can't keep going like that. And so like if I'm going up, I'm going up. But after that, if maybe there's ups and downs, I'm a little bit more responsible. But it kind of depends on the product and the funnel. I say that a lot, but whatever the AOV is on a product, that's going to dictate a lot of what I'm bidding, the prices or the budgets that I use on the account. But as a general rule of thumb, I'm increasing budgets about 25% if something's working.
Okay, awesome. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm in that range. I would say, Facebook or Meta used to have this kind of 20% rule where if you increased past that, you're going to reset the learning phase, which you don't want to do. But they've since removed that, and we've tested it out, and it doesn't reset the learning phase. So yeah, we're around 25 to 30%. Once you hone in on which ad creatives and which, ad sets are performing best, what we'll do a lot of times is we'll shut down the losers. We'll even shut down the lower performing ones. And then we'll combine those similar ad sets and we'll put all the budget into the winner and try and keep that around 20 to 25 to 30% increase over time. That's how we scale our ad campaigns up. And then when you find that winner, then you can start testing out other ones and see if you could beat that. So it's a never ending game with meta advertising to try and always beat what you have been doing.
Yeah, and you hit it right there. It's a game. It's fun. You guys should enjoy this process. As long as you're not overspending, you're within that 10 to 20% of your profit, because that's kind of like you're investing into the future. You stay within that, and then you get success. You start ramping it up. So, all right, now we're gonna get into like the meat and potatoes of this, which is actually publishing your first ad. You guys excited? Put a yes in the chat if you're excited about that. I know I am. So. All right. So you get your primary text in there. You can have different variations that Facebook is going to, test out for you. Your headlines, you put some different headlines in there. Your descriptions into the ad. You're going to see how it's going to look on different platforms. Okay. Over here, you're going to kind of see how it's going to show up inside feeds, stories, reels. You're just going to kind of optimize it for all the stuff. Now, once you like it and you're like, okay, I set my budget. I like how the ad looks. I got my copy in there. I created a killer ad creative. I used all these tools that Jacob's talking about. You targeted the right people. You got everything set up inside of there, right? And you're like, man, I feel confident. Now I know how to budget. Now I know how to move forward. Now you're going to click the publish button. And this is the moment of truth, guys. This is where it gets exciting, right? Boom, the ad is live. That's my ad. It's live online, right? And we're going to get engagement. We're going to get comments, shares, likes. We're going to start getting clicks and sales. And now I got this flywheel spinning of new customers coming in. And that's where it's just super, super exciting. All right. I know law number 9. I know we said it's going to shock you. And why we said that? Just plan on failing right out of the gate. Okay. If it's your first ad, but did you really fail? Okay. I know it's like you do something for the first time, you're probably going to fail. That's just how it is. But the people that know they're going to fail, and did you really fail? No, because you bought data. Now you have information. Now you have people that are coming to your landing page. Now you have potential people that could buy your product. You got your pixels set up right. So you're building up this audience of people that once you really start drilling down and figuring out, how to create a really good ad creative, and we're giving you the no fail version. But hey, look, when you first start, you're probably not going to break even right off the bat. Right. But with the right tools and the right team behind it, and, working with like Peter and Jacob and myself, being able to figure this out, you're going to be able to understand what the data is telling you. So what is the data actually telling you that you just bought? And determining that's the secret sauce of this whole thing. And that's what we've been explaining for the last hour with you right now. We've been explaining what this data is telling you, how it's working, how to like game the system, how to get ahead of the data. Moving forward, we're going to show you exactly, what the data is saying and then how to overcome that and move to the next phase. But we're here to help you figure this out. That's why we're doing this training right now. That's why we created the Traffic Syndicate. And here, I got to tell you that here's where most people stop. Now, I hope you didn't stop because you're only spending 10 to 20% of your profits on this. And hopefully we can get to break even pretty quick right out of the gate if you follow these steps to the T. But if you don't hit your goals or you're below break even, but the good thing is you're only spending 10 to 20% of your profits. So hopefully you didn't stop. Now, law number 10. Okay, I'm going to bring Peter out here again to explain this. So with the Chris Crone campaign, when we first started, we were getting leads for like a couple of $1,000s or even more. Now we're really starting to drill down into some things that are working. I know we're running traffic also on YouTube, Google, I think TikTok. Or Peter, can you explain what we're looking at here? Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? What's all these numbers? How does it all work? So somebody that's a beginner that's trying to determine what's going on here and how to make solid decisions, what are they looking for?
Yeah, so this kind of goes into the last point, right? Like, there are going to be ad variants that don't work. There are going to be audiences that don't work. So when we build out a campaign like this, we're introducing a lot of different variables. And what I'm looking for is kind of the binary right or wrong answer, right? This versus that, what's better? And I'm making a lot of those decisions. I use the averages. So you have all of these numbers in here, which the reach, like the number of people who are seeing your ad. There's a lot of variables. What I'm looking for are the variables that are most close to that KPI, like I mentioned before, right? If you're looking to make sales, probably you have some efficiency goal around sales, the cost per acquisition or the CPA of that sale, maybe the ROAS of that sale, the return on ad spend for the advertising dollars that you're spending. And so I'm looking at specifically those columns, like there's a cost per result column on here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the average, things that are below that average, cost per result below is good. So I'm keeping those. Anything above that, I'm pausing. And so it's kind of those just two-way choices, and I'm stacking those a lot of times. A lot of times the organization is a big part of that. If you label the variables with the sum of the parts, then it will be pretty easy to come in here and see like, okay, ads that contain this landing page, those on average are doing better than these. And you can see that just by filtering the data. You can plop in a quick filter and see the total for it. And so even I'm doing this all the time, and that's the same way I go and look at it right now. Okay, I want to know this landing page quickly. I'll go filter the ads that contain that landing page and see an aggregated result for it. And there's going to be things that work. There are going to be things that don't work. And as long as you're making those decisions where you're pausing the bad and putting more money into the good, if you keep stacking those, even if it's 5%, right? Like if you're improving your click-through rate 5% and you're improving your conversion rate to a sale by 5% and you're improving all of those numbers, they really stack on each other for exponential increase in results.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to point out, guys, because you could look at it and say, well, this ad set or this campaign is costing me $2,430 per lead, right? And you're like, well, that's the most expensive one on the sheet. And one of them's $29 per lead. Well, that $29 lead might have not converted to a sale. Like if you're selling a $35,000 thing and maybe those two leads that were $2,430, they actually converted to sales. Right? Whereas the cheap ones didn't. You could get hundreds of cheap ones that don't convert. Can you talk a little bit about that too? Because you're not just tracking this thing like for leads per se. You're actually following up on the back. I mean, you're optimizing for leads for the sake of this campaign, but then you're also tracking like the ad and the lead where it came from all the way to the sale, and then tracing it all the way back to then make a decision on which ads or which ad sets or audiences to pause. Right?
Yeah. So on this type of account, I'm evaluating the data two ways. There is the in the account data right here where I'm making decisions around that primary goal. So cost per lead on this case, right? In every ad group, I want to improve cost per lead, and I'm trying to just optimize the ad account in that direction. But then we make the allocation decisions, and the allocation decisions are based off of, okay, so this ad group drove 10 leads, and of those 5% of them were qualified. And so there's 50% qualified lead rate there. Maybe one drove 3 leads, but all 3 of them bought. And so you have this rate of sale there that's almost 100%, right? And so those are the numbers that influence the channels that I'm allocating money on, the campaigns, the ad sets that I'm allocating dollars on. But then within those ad sets and those campaigns, I'm making the decisions based off of the numbers that you see here. And I'm trying to drive those improvements in cost per lead and all of those steps.
Now, law number 11, using A/B testing. So now that we've gone through the whole process, now we're starting to analyze the data. We want to set up some A/B tests. Okay, we want to test against what we're already doing. So there's a button right here for A/B tests. You can just click on it. And then Jacob, are you there?
Yeah. So A/B testing is really critical when you want to obviously test how well a new ad will perform against an old ad, or a new audience performs against, one of your old audiences. So what's really great about A/B testing, and what I love about it, is if you're going to test out different ad creatives or audiences or messaging or whatever, you set it up as an A/B test. So Meta knows that it's not going to allow you to compete against yourself. So this goes back to what I was originally talking about earlier on, was ad auction overlap. If you test out small businesses as an audience versus entrepreneurs as an audience, if you just run those against each other, well, then you're competing against yourself in the ad auction, right? And you don't want to do that, because then you're driving your costs up you're driving your bid value up to win the ad auction. So instead of doing that, but you do want to test how well small business does versus entrepreneurs, if you run it as an A/B test, you're telling Meta, hey, I want to keep these separate. So do not compete against myself in the ad auction. And now you can run 2 different ad campaigns against each other for, 14 days or 2 days. It doesn't matter. You want to give it enough data depending on how much you're spending. But once it gets enough data, you can figure out what the winning audience will be, or the winning creative will be, or the winning message will be, without competing against yourself in the ad auction. So it's a really powerful tool. And I love that Meta gives us this capability to do it this way. And that's one of the biggest things that we recommend when working with new clients is you should really be doing your testing with A/B tests. So you can keep your score good in the formula, and you could continue to win without competing against yourself, driving your costs through the roof.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. Law number 12, the final law, adapt and optimize. Now, what I want to say, we've been talking about it this whole time. You're always testing new copy. You're always testing new ad creatives. You're always optimizing your offers. You're always optimizing your funnel. Let us help you do this. You're never done. It's like, Mark Zuckerberg said it in the Social Network movie for, Facebook, and how the big flagship movie for Facebook. Well, when is the website done, Mark? It's never done. The website's your business is never done. You're always optimizing your offers, your funnels, your creatives, your copy. It's a game. It's trying new things. Hopefully we've given you some creative ideas so you can take those things and run with them. We've given you a blueprint to do a no-fail ad campaign step by step. All right, Mike, back to you, my friend.
Well, first off, Jesse, Peter, Jacob, that was amazing. I'm seeing what people are saying in the chat. They're blown away by the detail that we went over. Obviously, we're catering to lots of different people. We wanted to keep it at one level, a 30,000 foot for people that never did advertising, and also go into some details so that you guys can get your big boy and big girl pants on and see, okay, what is this stuff about tracking pixels and using AI? So when you work out, your muscles start to hurt. So if your brain's hurting just a little bit, that means that you're in the right place. So I want to thank Jesse, Jacob, and Peter for coming on and doing this incredible training.